The House Republicans' budget proposal not only cuts Medicaid, but it also SNAP. And I'm not talking... Okay, that just wasn't funny, but the cuts are necessary. Necessary to cut the food assistance program that feeds 1 in 8 Americans, 39% of whom are children and 11% of whom are elderly, and Republicans aim to cut it by $300 billion over the next decade, representing a 20.6% cut in federal SNAP funding. All right, looks like we gotta go line by line on what this proposal is doing to SNAP. Sure, the first change is SNAP currently has work requirements for able-bodied adults without dependents for ages 18 to 54, but this new bill looks to increase the age for those work requirements to 18 to 64. Yeah, keyword able-bodied. We need to incentivize able-bodied people to work and not just munch off the government. This only affects 54 to 64-year-old, many of whom are blue-collar workers that no longer can physically find or do the work they used to, or they live in rural areas that no longer have a lot of job opportunities. There's 7.2 million job openings in this country, and especially since people are living longer and the fact that we're $36 trillion in debt, we need people to work a little longer before being on welfare for life. The practical effects of this will be 60-year-olds in rural West Virginia who haven't been diagnosed with anything but can't physically work will go hungry. They can apply for disability then and still receive SNAP, but secondly, current SNAP benefits are fully funded by the federal government, who split administrative costs with the states 50-50, but this proposal will require states to contribute between 5 and 25% of the cost of SNAP benefits and increase their administrative cost burdens to 75%. Yeah, this would cause a major strain on state governments, forcing them to either raise taxes or make cuts to education, Medicaid, or infrastructure to pay for SNAP. Yeah, but the percent of SNAP state would pay would be dependent on their error rate in administrating SNAP. So if states want to pay less, they will tighten oversight and reduce mistakes, so it will incentivize a more efficient system. States already run very tight budgets, and around 15% of them run deficits, meaning this will force them to make cuts in crucial areas, but also this bill makes stricter eligibility and documentation requirements for SNAP. Yeah, they basically just require more documents for people to get on SNAP, which will decrease fraud or cause an extra strain on elderly people who aren't tech savvy, and it opposes harsher penalties for application mistakes or omissions, even if unintentional. Next, this bill also restricts state waivers for work requirements. Oh great, so now states can no longer temporarily waive work requirements if their state enters a period of high unemployment, meaning people who can't find jobs will be taken off SNAP and what, go hungry? The government system needs to encourage work and efficiency. There are multiple other ways to get food in tough times, including charities and food banks, but must I remind you, we are $36 trillion in debt? Wow, what an argument for cuts leading to starving Americans, but finally this bill limits future SNAP benefit increases to inflation rates. Yeah, makes sense, so SNAP benefits can only increase with inflation. Sometimes the inflation numbers don't account for real cost of living increases, so this limits government's future ability to increase benefits for reasons other than inflation. It's trying to get its hand around massive future increases that will only balloon our deficit even more. Again, let's remember what we're talking about here. Hungry Americans. I'm hungry for you to stop talking.